How does a filmmaker show an idea?
I believe in ancestry, you know, and legacy, and how things don't go away.
I want to show you a technique director Derek Cianfrance uses to communicate abstract concepts visually in The Place Beyond the Pines, an underrated film from 2013 that I'm about to completely spoil. The Place Beyond the Pines is about the passing of the torch, how our legacy affects our children and those around us. Our actions have consequences, and those consequences echo out from us, affecting those around us, sometimes for generations. And while this is something we understand almost instinctually about real life, it can be hard to convey that on screen. One way you could do this is to edit the story non-linearly, highlighting the connection between actions and their consequences, but Cianfrance decided to show Pines linearly in 3 distinctive acts. So how do you show the relationship between 2 events separated by minutes or hours of film? How do you connect Luke Clanton, who's only alive in the first 50 minutes of the movie, and his son, who's only on screen in the last 50? Like this. In the director's commentary track for the film, Cianfrance talks about how many of the scenes have echoes later in the film, visual motifs and reoccurring locations that show how you can feel connected to someone's legacy even after they've been dead for 15 years. With shots like these, we can connect a father and son's shared love of riding, their free spirits. We can connect their crimes,
possession of a controlled substance in the 3rd degree,
and show how they develop similar friendships. These visual connections help the audience understand relationships between figures that are hardly ever on screen together.
he's yours. You want to hold him?
A scene towards the end of the film where Jason visits the trailer his dad lived in 15 years earlier visually echoes the scene where Luke sees the trailer for the first time. These 2 scenes are an hour apart in the film, but when I cut them together, you can see how clearly they interact with each other. The feeling of connection that the characters are feeling in that moment is palpable to the viewer. Our memory is triggered and we recognize the composition of the scene from before, and it puts us emotionally in the shoes of the character.
Pour 'em on. Come on, I'll tell you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're calling him back.
But Cianfrance doesn't just use these echoes to connect father and son, he uses it to compare and contrast. Look at this scene, where Jason eats ice cream for the first time with his biological father, alongside a later scene where he eats ice cream at the same place with the man that raised him. The second scene could have happened anywhere, but by placing it here, the specter of Jason's biological father looms over the entire moment in the same way he looms over Jason's life, and we immediately know that this statement
He's not your father.
doesn't find its mark.
You want another one?
Would you leave me alone in
The similarities between the scenes where Luke and Avery try to give money to Romina help drive home how the conflict that entered her life with Luke will continue well past his death.
Hey. Hey, don't worry, it's okay.
would you still?
Okay, I want you to have it.
I don't know what that is.
You don't have to ever even see me again. Just take the money. Bro. Bro.
We can see just through the visual subtext how this relationship has had an impact on this one. The scene where Bradley Cooper's character picks up Luke's son from the crib echoes an earlier scene where Luke comforted and held his own son. We can see how this child has had an impact on these two men in similar ways. And setting these two scenes at a pool reinforces how, where Avery had a strong connection with his dad, he lacks one with his son.
And then Sunday morning, black churches.
Oh, perfect.
Right? Yeah, I think we can get two.
Film is a powerful medium for storytelling because it gives you so many options simultaneously for how to communicate ideas. Cianfrance uses these echoes to almost get inside your head at times, as the viewer we're affected, but we might not even understand why. I think the themes in Pines are most strongly communicated visually through Sean Bobbitt's beautiful cinematography and the staging and locations of each scene. I've only covered some of the echoes that are in The Place Beyond the Pines, but I'll leave you with a side-by-side comparison of the first and last shots of the film. The entire thrust of the story can be summed up by the comparison of these two shots. The generational evolution is clear. Jason is similar to his father, and it's easy to imagine him as a young Luke in this shot. But where Luke rides into a cage, Jason rides off into freedom. To the place beyond the pines. I'm Thomas Flight. Thank you so much for watching. This has been another video for my series Off the Screen. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and maybe consider sharing this video with someone who you think might enjoy it. As always, I love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments what are some unusual ways you've seen directors communicate subtext. That's all for this video. I'll see you all next time.